Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time for Midweek Motivation Live with me, your host, Patrick Lee. Today's episode is going to be entitled, You Cannot Heal What You Keep Hiding. We're going to let people have about 30 seconds to start tuning in. They usually do right after the beginning of the show. It's 10 o'clock, right? We get started promptly at 10 every week on Wednesday morning when we can. We've been coming to you live Wednesday mornings for nearly 5 years now, and I'm glad you people keep continuing to come back, show up. 221 downloads of the podcast last week. I got that notification day before yesterday. Pretty excited about that. Today, talking about what the kind of things that we continue to hide, things we hide in our mind, in our hearts, things that we continue to keep from others that are holding us back from going on and achieving everything in life that we were made to achieve here on Midweek Motivation Live, now on all major podcast platforms. Wherever you go to consume your motivational content, anything for personal growth and development, you can find Midweek Motivation Live, all major podcast platforms. And yes, as the banner just showed, we are sponsored by my real estate team, the Patrick Lee Group. We have just hired 4 new agents coming at you hard and fast to continue to help motivate people to have an excellent experience buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate with me or any one of the people on my team. You can reach me at 806-570-7712. Most of you have my number. If you're online and you don't know who I am, you can give me a call and find out, or just Google Patrick Lee in Amarillo, Texas. I think you'll find me easily. But today's show, You Cannot Heal What You Keep Hiding. I want to welcome all of you to today's show. This is your midweek reset for faith, focus, discipline, and purpose in your life. People already tuning in, watching, liking, and loving the show. I appreciate that. Before this Wednesday gets away from us, let's realign our minds for a few minutes and dive right in to this topic. Let me ask you something this morning. How many people are walking around smiling publicly while quietly falling apart inside? Because broken people at some point become very skilled at pretending, putting on their game face, right? Pretending they're okay, pretending they're strong, pretending that they're healed. It's a make-believe world they're living in, but they have gotten very skilled at pretending they're not exhausted and tired. And the longer people hide pain, the heavier it becomes. Some of you are not tired because life is hard. You're tired because carrying hidden pain is exhausting. And this morning, we're going deeper than motivation. This is about freedom, healing, truth, restoration, because what stays hidden eventually comes to control you. And remember, when comfort ends, courage begins. So let's make your move, right? That's our new motto. That is our new motto. Checking to make sure that we are good on the live feed. Point 1, what you hide controls you. What are you talking about, Patrick Lee? That's right, Cody. Nothing stays hidden forever. Cody's always a wealth of knowledge. Cody's on his same journey with me. Ralph, good to see you on here as well, my buddy. Yeah, Cody's, so is Ralph. A lot of you on the same journey of personal development. We want to be everything God has called us to be, so we continue to lead, teach, and grow, right? What you hide controls you. Whatever stays hidden gains power over you. That is one of the most dangerous truths in life, I believe. Hidden bitterness grows, hidden shame grows. All of the things that we hide grows. Hidden addiction grows. It gets more and more powerful over our lives. Hidden insecurity grows. Pain grows. Because secrecy feeds the struggle. What do you mean? What does that mean? Secrecy feeds the struggle. Everything that you keep hidden inside, in here, continues to grow. You can push it down all you want, but it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. The enemy thrives in darkness. That's why people trapped in shame almost always isolate themselves emotionally. They stop opening up. They stop asking for help. They stop being honest with themselves and with others. And little by little, the thing they refuse to confront quietly begins controlling your emotions. It controls your decisions, your relationships, your conversations. Your identity is totally taken over by the thing that you keep hidden inside. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 13 says this: He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesses and forsakes them shall have mercy. The book of Psalms 32 says it this way: When I kept silence, my bones waxed old. Through my roaring all the day long, I acknowledged my sin unto you, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin. Notice what David is describing here in Psalms. Silence drained him. Hidden pain is heavy. And some people have spent years carrying things internally that God never intended them to carry alone. He's intended us to cast that care on him because he cares for us. Hello, Miss Gina. Great to see you watching as well. Ralph came through Amarillo last week. We didn't get to meet up, but Ralph went to eat Italian food instead of going to Saigon. That's okay, brother. Marlene and I went to Saigon yesterday and got the ribeye skillet. If you're ever passing through Amarillo, Texas, Saigon 84 has great food, and they have a hot sizzling stir fry skillet. I got one with a ribeye, and it was pretty amazing and priced very well. The danger of hidden pain is that eventually it starts leaking into everything. It leaks into our attitude. It leaks into our peace. We can't have peace anymore. We can't sleep well. Our marriage suffers. Our relationships suffer. Our confidence starts to wane. My leadership even starts suffering. If I'm trying to lead someone else and I'm carrying all of this hidden stuff, it affects my ability to lead other people. My confidence goes down, right? It starts to shake me in my very faith because I won't confess it. I won't cast it off onto the Lord or, even share it with a friend. Some people are angry all the time. How many of you know people like that? I could name someone today that someone tells me about regularly, and every day they come to work angry. They throw their phone, they slam their door, they pound their fist on their desk, and they're just an angry person. And I won't do that publicly, but I'm like, wow. I just couldn't live that way, right? But those people are generally wounded inside. They're carrying some kind of a burden that you and I don't know. And it's something they need to get out. They need to get healed of that. I believe that. I really do. And until they do, they're just not going to change. You know what I mean? Not going to change. But that's what we're here today, trying to help people get over. Some people constantly criticize others because internally they hate themselves. Maybe your parents or a teacher or someone has shared that with you in the past. Why is so-and-so so mean? Hey, they're just taking it out on you. They're really mad at themselves. And it's okay. And sometimes we bear that burden. You know what I mean? Some people stay busy every second because silence forces them to hear what they're trying to avoid. So they stay busy. They keep the noise up. They're always busy because they won't get quiet enough to battle that or to heal that, what's on the inside. You cannot heal what you continue hiding in darkness. At some point, freedom requires honesty with others and with yourself. It just really does. Point number 2. People are exhausted from, number 1, pretending, and number 2, watching you pretend. People are exhausted from pretending. Many people are not tired from their work. They're not tired from their relationships. They're not tired of what they do. They're not tired of that. They're tired of performing. They're tired of pretending to be okay when they're not. They're tired of pretending to be strong if they're not strong. People are pretending to have peace in their life, right? How many of you know someone, how you doing, brother? How you doing, sister? Oh, the Lord is good. All the time, the Lord is good. It's like, okay. I'm too blessed to be stressed, right? Stress spelled backwards is dessert, and I'm all about that. So I'd rather have the dessert than the stress, right? people pretend to have peace. They pretend not to be hurting inside. They're pretending not to struggle. It's all good. God meets all my needs. He's got the cattle on 1,000 hills, and he shares that with me. Amen. Those are great confessions. But inside, are you really believing that? Are you truly walking in that? Or are you really struggling? Is that really who you are? Is that your real face? Or are you wearing that mask that people like to talk about every day? Before you go out, you got to put on that mask because emotionally you're suffocating inside. Some of the most broken people we know are the ones smiling the hardest in public because they've learned how to survive through performance. And they're like, if I can fake it till I make it, I'll be all right. But eventually, performance becomes exhausting. The book of Matthew, verse 11 chapter 11, verse 28 says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden." Laden means burdened down, carrying heavy loads, and I will give you rest. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 says this, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness." Notice something powerful this morning. God never asked you to pretend to be invincible. In fact, Scripture repeatedly shows God meeting people in their weakness, not in their perfection. God always comes to them when they're feeling the smallest, when they're feeling the weakest. But pride tells you this, don't let anyone see you struggle. Even church people will tell you that. And I'm going to step on some church toes today. And that's not because I'm at a church. I love church. Fear says if people know the real me, they'd reject me. But that's the lie of the enemy. When you go to church or you go to your favorite restaurant, right? Or you go to wherever and you're going to meet a lot of people, you have to pretend like you don't, number one, you don't need anything. Number two, that you have enough money to afford everything, right? And number three, you've got everything under control. And when you share something other than that, people start looking at you as less than, as opposed to equal to them. And you know why? They want to believe that you've got it all together, but they feel like they don't have it all together, and they're afraid to let someone be better than them. That's fear speaking, and fear comes directly from the enemy. And if you go to church and that's what everyone expects from you to always be if you share anything negative that you're not in faith, hogwash. In my weakness, he is made strong, right? He is the lifter of my head. I don't have to pretend to have everything all together if I don't. And neither do you. People, they just walk in that fear. And I was going to title the show today, "What Are You Afraid Of?" And I just thought, this is not a fear-based show. This is a help you get out of what you're hiding show. But the fear says if people know the real me, they'll reject me. And sometimes church says the same thing. Then shame comes along and says, you have to hide this forever. If anyone knew what you've done, they would never forgive you. Hogwash, once again, that's just not true. We are the most forgiving when someone confesses what they've done, aren't we? If someone just comes to us and says, "Oh, I think I just screwed up. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I know better. I didn't mean to say that." We're like, hey, it's okay. People make mistakes. But when you hide it and then we find out, or you lie about it, then we find out, that's when the anger comes. It's like, why didn't you trust me? That's the point. Why didn't you trust me enough, our relationship enough to tell me? It's okay. It's not because we continually uplift people that do wrong, but when they do wrong and they just confess that, it's so much easier for us to defend their own action and say, it's okay, you're human. But this pressure of shame and fear and doubt continues to hold us down consistently until it's like we're afraid to confess anything. We're afraid to share our shame, or we're afraid to share our shortfalls because someone is going to judge us over that. I mean, I'm like, come on, what are we in this life for? That pressure drains people emotionally, mentally. Some people are exhausted from that. Some of us are exhausted of watching you act that way. Not because we know you're weak. We just want you to come out of that fear and shame and just be a real person with us. Because you're constantly managing to suppress all of that. Constantly managing to try to keep the mask straight on your face and keep up appearances. But eventually, image management becomes spiritual bondage because you start protecting the image you're projecting more than protecting your soul and who God has called you to be in life and business. God cannot heal the version of you you pretend to be. He can only heal the real you. And freedom begins the moment honesty becomes more important than appearances. Boom. That's a writer downer. Healing only begins when honesty becomes more important than appearances. Comparison will eventually lead to compromise of your character to attain a level you have not earned. Good point. Very good, Ralph. I appreciate that comment. Point number 3. Healing requires honesty. Freedom begins where honesty begins, not anywhere else. Your freedom begins where your honesty begins. If we're talking about your salvation, freedom begins the moment you're honest with yourself and you admit, hey, I need a Savior. I can't save myself, right? That's the Roman road. And today's lesson isn't Bible study, but that's for Terry. But this is freedom begins where your honesty begins. When you get real with yourself, that's when you get free in your spirit. Now, in business and in life and relationships, freedom also begins where honesty begins. We can become free when we can communicate to other people, I do have things that I struggle with. Not being fake. I'm not pretending I'm perfect. I'm just here to tell you I have my weaknesses. I have things that I struggle with. I know that there are areas that I am not trained enough to do the job maybe that I was hired to do. I know that I do not have the knowledge to run the business that I do, but by the grace of God, people continue to show up and continue to show me favor. And we say in spiritual world, with the Lord, that favor isn't fair. It's not, because people don't understand when you have favor on your life. That means you're walking upright before the Lord, trying to do right and keeping everything confessed to Him, and He blesses you relationally, business-wise, in your finances, and all of that. And people don't understand why someone who is fallible or makes mistakes or isn't perfect walks a blessed life. They don't understand that. It's like, because that person finally got honest enough with God and with others to understand, I need to hire to my weakness, not my strength. I don't need duplicates of me, right? I need to get training. I need to read books, go to conferences, get counseling, talk to people that are better at what I want to do, right? I need to grow me. I need to follow a leader who's been someplace I'm trying to go. All of those things that we talk about on the show all the time. Not fake perfection, not image control or management, not religious performance. None of those things work. Truth works. Honesty works. Many people want healing without vulnerability. They want peace without honesty in their life. They want restoration without confrontation. Well, what did you do that was so wrong? Why do you deserve restoration? There's a word, right? Well, if someone has fallen in business or they made a mistake and they come out online and they apologize, should they be automatically restored to the same level socially or business-wise that they had before? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we don't know if that's a false face or not, right? A mask. I know multiple people on Facebook in the social media world that have had lapses in their judgment, or they've been arrested multiple times for DUI, drinking and driving, and you go read the comments and they are horrible. People skewer these people online without any hesitation. They just, if you've made a mistake, we're done with you. You're a horrible person. They paint this person out to be Satan himself when it's not true. They have fallen or simply gotten caught doing something that many of other people that are commenting have done and haven't been caught doing. So I'm like, come on. If we can confront someone who's done something wrong, if they've done the crime, they need to do the time, right? Sometimes God shows favor to that person and He forgives them or takes that burden on Himself, and they get away seemingly scot-free, but they still know in their mind and in their heart that they've done wrong, and they're going to carry that. And if they got away with it, they're going to carry that too, and that's going to be something that follows them. But we want restoration without confrontation. We don't ever want to maybe apologize for what we've done, We just want people to automatically turn around and say, well, it's been a few weeks and people are on to someone else's sin now. So I'm right back. I've been restored to the same status I had before. And it just doesn't always work there that way, right? Freedom without confession. I want to be restored without ever telling anyone I did anything wrong. That's not how healing works. That continues to mask what's going on inside you, and it will just stay there. It's going to simmer and grow. That's point number one. That's not how healing works. James 5:16 says this, confess your faults one to another, pray one for another that you may be healed. Terry and I talk about this a lot. Cody and I talk about this a lot. Numerous people, friends of mine. Sometimes we just have to have a little confession moment. And we didn't, in conversation, we just readily come out honestly and say, well, I'm not really good at that. Or so and so, Then we catch ourselves judging others because it's fun to criticize, right? And make fun of each other. But we have to be careful doing that as well, because as soon as we start doing that, right, then we're guilty of being that same kind of person. Book of John, chapter 8, verse 32 says this, you will know the truth and the truth will make you free. That's where I want to be today. I want to be made free. Truth brings freedom because truth exposes what darkness was trying to keep hidden. Darkness really translates out to chaos, and I don't want chaos in my life. I want peace in my life. Sometimes the hardest person to be honest with is me. Some people, we know exactly why they're hurting, but refuse to admit it. We can see their faults, but we don't want to admit our own, right? Some know exactly what's poisoning their spirit, but continue entertaining it anyway. That's another rider downer. You know what you're doing wrong. You know what's hurting your spirit. And even though you know to do right, you still don't, right? It just is. Some people know they need healing, but they become comfortable living wounded. But healing requires confrontation. You have to confront that bitterness. You have to confront that fear. You have to confront the addiction. I'm not talking about a 12-step, but whatever that addiction is, the insecurity in your life, the trauma that's happened to you in the past. Why do you keep retelling the same story of, well, you don't understand what happened to me? You're bound to that story. And until you let that story go, you're going to keep carrying the trauma that came along with that story. You've got to quit being attached to that. You've got to let it go, because you're letting that define who you are as opposed to who you were. And you're never going to be the person you're becoming if you still hold on to the person you once were. The unforgiveness, the shame, all of that. That's the story of who you used to be, not who God says you are, not who you are going to be when you get to the end of this road. Okay? Being willing to change is uncomfortable, but avoiding it is even more uncomfortable. Avoiding pain does not heal pain. It just puts it off into the future. Ignoring wounds does not remove wounds. How many of you know if you don't make your credit card payment this month, what's it going to look like next month? That dinner that you took 4 friends out to this month and you thought that was an expensive bill, so I put it on credit, that you could be paying on that dinner for 20 years if you don't pay the bill next month, right? Some people spend years trying to medicate or suppress what only God can heal them from. The debt problem is the day that you get healed from that is the day you cut up that credit card, right? And quit prolonging the pain of paying your bills. Eventually, we discover that distraction doesn't heal anything. Prolonging that doesn't heal anything. Forgetting about it, sticking your head in the sand doesn't heal anything. Only achievement of cutting it off, achievement of once you achieve the point of I can tell the truth about this. I can share this with a friend. I can get an accountability partner. Then I can get healed. I can make more money. That's another story we tell ourselves. As long as I have enough money to suppress all of those problems, it doesn't matter. But money runs out. The problem is still there, right? Money is a short-term fix for these problems. Relationships. You got 2 great relationships. What about that bad one that you continue to ignore? 2 good relationships can't heal the bad one. You've got to fix that bad one too. Otherwise, you're carrying that bad baggage around into your good relationships, and it'll eventually affect them too. Success can't heal it. Only truth brings freedom. And some of you are one honest decision away from beginning the healing process God's been waiting for you to start in your life. I hope this is helping some of you guys. Thank you for the kind comments. I really do appreciate it. Now, point number 4. We have 5 today, not 4. So we're going to get into point number 4. Pain left unhealed becomes your identity. We've talked a lot on the show about identity, about legacy, who we are becoming. It's not who we are today, it's all about the journey. One of the greatest dangers in life is when pain stops being something we experienced and starts becoming who we believe we are. There's a difference between I have experienced and I am experiencing. People begin identifying themselves by that trauma, by those past failures, by those failed relationships, by the divorce, by the time you got fired when you're 21 from a job and you still can't stand the fact that you ever got fired. That's me. I'm over it, and I'm just using that as an example. When I was 21 years old, I got fired from a job. One of the only times I've ever been fired in my life. I've always moved into management on every job I've had and became a manager, the overall manager, general manager, or owner of my own businesses. And I went to work at a burger joint. I think I was 21 years old, and I lived in San Angelo, Texas. And I was recommended to be to the owner of this brand new burger joint, brand new concept, to be his assistant manager from another manager of a restaurant I worked at. I was a delivery manager and cook at a Pizza Hut. And the owner of the Pizza Hut referred me to his friend and said, hey, this Patrick's a great guy. He'll be a great leader. Well, another guy applied for the same job. And I was hired, and I was the assistant manager of this burger joint, very successful burger joint, for a few months. And this other person, when he did not get the job, he immediately went out and he was in marketing and sales and advertising. Well, he went and joined a social club that the owner was in, and then invited him out to dinner and became friends. And then they joined a bowling league and they started hanging out and doing life together. And within a short few weeks, all of a sudden I started noticing a difference in my owner. And I was called into the office one day and let go, not because of anything I had done wrong or poor performance. The restaurant was actually doing quite well, and the people that I had trained were doing well. We were making good money. And one of the people that I met that I have shared in the past on this show was an investor in that business who passed me an envelope with a cassette tape in it one day called Insights. And that cassette is what started me on the road to personal development, right? It was an Earl Nightingale cassette. Same burger joint I'm working at, right? And I'm working the drive-up window, when Carl came through and handed me that cassette, changed my life. Within a month, the owner fired me and hired his friend because he was now his friend, right? I had not cultivated relationship outside of the job with the person. I was there as an employee and an assistant manager of his business, while the other man came and became in relationship with him. And it's the only time, I think one time was a mutual agreement for me to leave employment at a company, and the other times I have always left of my own accord, other than this time, and I was actually fired. And I've told people everyone really needs to be fired at least once in life, just to get a better perspective, okay? I highly advocate for everyone getting fired at least once. You can say Patrick Lee said it, and I'll admit it. I believe that. But we don't let that time I got fired over a relationship I didn't cultivate identify who I am today. That wasn't even a failure. It was simply a business decision by the man to hire his friend. And within a short amount of time, that business actually failed to exist. So I'm not mad about it. And I'm sad that the business didn't succeed after that point. I think that it would have had they kept me on. I mean, that's just a natural thought. That's the way we like to think, because I want to choose to believe that I make a big enough difference in the world that I have impact, right? I'm not defined by past relationship failures, past job failures, or rejection from other people. I've never had a crippling addiction. I've never made so many repeated mistakes that I can't get ahead in life. I'm just not going to live that way. I've had some bad seasons, but I'm going to continue to believe for a good season. Eventually, If you hold on to those wounds, they become who you are. You identify as your past. But I'm telling you today, you do not have to live that life. Your pain is not your identity. Your fear is not your identity. Your worst moment in the past is not your identity today. Your struggle is not your identity. The things that you battle are not who you are. They're simply things that you're battling, and it's okay. Ralph says this point is where I lived for over a decade. Man, dude, I'm so glad. We're all getting healed of this, right? Isaiah chapter 43 says this in verses 18 and 19. It says, "Remember you not the former things. Behold, I will do a new thing." 2 Corinthians chapter 5 says this, "If any man is in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new." The enemy wants us trapped in labels, in who we used to be. Broken, damaged, hopeless, unworthy, too far gone. But God specializes in restoration. Some of the strongest people in Scripture had broken down histories, right? David, a man after God's own heart, failed, cheated, affairs, had an affair with a married woman, had her husband killed, sent him off to battle. Peter denied Jesus. Paul was he persecuted the Christians and then was persecuted himself. Moses ran in fear, yet God still used all these people powerfully. Why? Because failure wasn't part of their future, it was part of their past. Failure wasn't going to continue to be their story. It was a part of the past story. Some of you have spent years speaking death over yourself because of something that happened in the past. Hey, a lot of crap has happened to me in the past too. A lot of stuff I could have stayed in and just never moved forward. But God is bigger than my worst season. He's bigger than your worst season too. And healing begins when you stop introducing yourself by your pain, start seeing yourself through the grace of God. Just telling you. And then finally, point number 5, God can heal what you stop hiding. The goal isn't the exposure, the goal is restoration. So if I want restoration, I need to expose what it is. And I'm not telling all of you to DM me, start telling me your deepest, darkest secrets. But I'm telling you, the goal is restoration. God, life, business, your friends, they're not repelled by your brokenness. God can restore that, and your friends will too. Psalms 147 says this, He heals the broken in heart. He binds up their wounds. The book of Joel chapter 2 verse 25 says, I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten. You get tongue-tied when you're speaking this in King James English, right? I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten. That word restore matters because God doesn't just patch people up. He rebuilds them. God doesn't just suppress everything and patch you up and put it back inside you and bind it within you. He rebuilds you. He restores you. He restores your peace. He gives you your real identity back. He gives you your joy back, and he restores your purpose as well. One of the best things in life that we get from being a healed up person is hope. I have hope of a better future. I have hope of a better tomorrow. I have hope of a bigger bank account. I have hope of a newer car, or for some of you a car period, right? Some of you listening today have spent years believing you're too damaged to heal. You're too far gone to recover. The Lord could never forgive me. I've done too many bad things. Hogwash. You're not too far gone to be healed. You're not too broken to be used by God or to have your relationships fixed. That is a lie. There's nothing hidden in your life that God cannot heal if you'll just finally surrender it to Him. Tell it to a friend. Get an accountability partner. Tell it to your spouse. Whatever it is. Or if nothing else, tell it to the Lord. one of the scripture says, search me, O God, right? Know my heart. We used to sing that song in church when I was a kid. Know my heart today. If I can confess it to Him, He can heal me of that when it's finally surrendered. When you finally look up to the heavens or in your closet, in your prayer time, wherever you are, just say, God, this is bigger than me, and it's going to be something that I'm giving it to you, and I need you to heal me of this. I need you to set me free from this. I accept your healing, and I am not going to be the person that I once was anymore. Nothing is too strong for him to heal. Nothing is too hard for him to heal or set you free from. Maybe this morning the real breakthrough isn't pretending anymore. Maybe this is the moment you finally admit, I'm not okay with not being okay. Something's going on in my life. I'm hurting. I need healing. I need God to come and fix some of this stuff. I was in a men's group a month ago, a little over a month ago, and I sat down. I'm going to a newer church after 20 over 25 years at a previous church, and I sat down with a group of men, and I thought they all attended this church, and I knew a couple of them. And I sat, as we started introducing ourselves around the table, I realized that most of them, only one of them, I think, actually attended the church and had invited everyone else. Everyone came from all of these different backgrounds, and they all started telling their stories. Part of the program that night was going around the table, and people just sharing 3 to 5 minutes about their background and maybe something that they needed help with. And it was an amazing moment where all of us 8 guys could share some things and pray for some people and give some advice to some other people. And many of those men now go to the same church. But I've known some of these guys for years. I thought they attended that church, but they were just so free and able to confess some of the things they had problems with. And I'm like, that's awesome. It's people that confess they're hurting or they need healing or they've got a battle in their life or something going on in their marriage. The number one thing they need is God. But hey, iron sharpens iron, right? At the beginning of all of these points down here, I've got crossed swords, right? Because iron sharpens iron. And men and women both, when we can help somebody by sharing that and offer to help them up, we make their blade sharper, right? But pride keeps dulling it, and we're here to sharpen it. We need God and we need each other because that keeps pride out of it, right? Surrender opens the door to restoration. And hear me clearly, hear me. God isn't intimidated by your brokenness or your problems. He already knows them all before you confess them to him. He just wants you to confess them to him. He already sees it. He's already up there going, come on, ma'am. Come on, sir. He still loves us anyway. He's just waiting for us to get rid of that and give it to him, right? Throw it on his shoulders because he cares to us. I had a boss years ago named Dwight, and I worked for a supermarket chain, and I was the manager, a brand new manager, and I was probably 20, maybe right before the burger joint, and I was right after the burger joint, and I was battling everyone in this bakery. I was running a bakery, and everyone in the bakery was older than me, and they were mean, and they were angry. They were bossy and demanding, and I was just a young, skinny kid running this department because I had management ability, and the boss promoted me when the previous manager quit. And Dwight was my supervisor, and Dwight was stocky, and he looked like Elvis with brown hair and the big mutton chop sideburns and the glasses. Looked like Elvis. I need to look up Dwight. He was a good person. He affected my life greatly. And he said, that's what I'm for as your supervisor. He said, I have broad shoulders and a thick butt. And I've never reminded that. I've used it with other people. He says, I have broad shoulders to carry your load and a thick butt so I can take the butt chewings for you. But I can't help you if you won't tell me what's going on. And I was like, okay, you're on speed dial from now on, buddy. Anytime I got a problem, I'd call Dwight. Dwight would take care of it. So I've learned that God is the person that can take the butt chewings and carry your load. But, it's funny to say it that way, but that's just who God is. God can set you free from all of this crap in your life. Some of the strongest people in the world are secretly exhausted from carrying all of this hidden stuff. But you don't have to live that way forever. Today, freedom begins where honesty begins, right? Healing begins where surrender begins, and restoration begins when you stop hiding what God is trying to heal. I hope this has helped you guys today. It sounds like I'm getting really preachy. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm just trying to help you. If this can break through some of these hard shells, some of these masks that you're wearing, and get into your heart, God can really, really, really set us free from a lot of this junk that we carry around daily. Thank you, Miss Pam. You are so sweet. Ralph says, I learned what he gave me was limitless. I put the ceiling there, then complained about it too. I was like, wow, that's good. You built your own ceiling over your head, then complained because there was a ceiling above you. Aren't we all that way sometimes? We are. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate the kind words also. Thank you guys for spending part of your Wednesday morning with me again. I appreciate it here on Midweek Motivation Live. If this message spoke to you today, share it with someone who needs hope and healing. Listen, stay focused, stay disciplined. You know you can do this. Keep walking in your calling. I'm going to keep saying this each and every week. Keep walking in your calling. Many of you don't remember or don't know what your calling is, but I think that deep down in your heart, as you continue walking out and growing and building relationships and doing better in life, I think you're going to start understanding maybe what your calling in life is. Remember, keep walking forward. Forward progress is progress. Remember, when comfort ends, courage begins. So make your move. I'm going to see you next Wednesday morning back here on Midweek Motivation Live. I love you guys. Bye bye.